how we work with clients, with the people that come to us. A couple of years ago, I had a call saying, Abel, you have a new client. It's a pretty regular call. You have to go meet him. So I went to go meet my new client. He was living in a group home. He was not happy about it. And I asked him a very normal question for when I meet a new client. I asked him, what do you do? What do you like? What is your dream job? Mind you, I tell them right after, you're probably not gonna get your dream job. I just kind of want to know what it is. Like, what direction are we going? He said, Seahawks. I'm looking around his room, and that's real obvious. Everything is Seahawks. And I said, well, good luck on that. I don't know how to do that. Good luck on that one. He's like, all right, and he said he knows a couple people within the Seahawks. Great. Well, we're gonna make a deal. You're gonna do this the way I know how, and you come up with all these people, these contacts that you say you know, put them all into a document, and we'll figure something out. And that's what we did. We made that deal. And he did exactly what I asked him to do. I set him up on interviews, because after getting to know him, I realized he's smart, he's funny. There's a lot of things that he can do. Like, who wouldn't want to have someone with this much personality? Who wouldn't want to have someone like this on their workforce? Like, he can represent any employer in a good light. And so he did what I said. He stuck with it. I said, I have all these interviews set up for you. Well, the idea that I had wasn't the same idea these other employees had. When we'd go in for interviews, they would take a look at him and start talking to me. We would go over there, and I'd even go to a different place. I'm like, hey, he would not be here if we didn't know that we could do this job that we're applying for. Like, we researched it, we know what's happening, and he can do it. They didn't even want to get that far into it. They would even call me over from where I was sitting over here. They would call me over to continue the conversation. And he saw it, I saw it, we both knew what was happening. You know who didn't see it was the employer. They didn't see what was happening. It was so far beyond their scope of what they could see. They didn't understand the way they were reacting to two human people who were sitting right in front of them. One person who can do the job. You advertised for it, he's here. This is the way it works. The next step is you do A, B, and C. They didn't want to do that. They skipped it. So we did have a deal. He did what I asked. Now I had to do what he asked. It took a little while, but we did actually come up with a list of people that he knew in the Seahawks. I knew none of these people. He was very proud of his list. I'm not into sports. I know none of these names. But what I do know is strategy. So that's what we did. We started coming up with a strategy. How do we contact these people that you know, but you've never asked them directly for a job before? How do we do this? So we came up with a strategy, and we started contacting these people on his list. He felt a little odd about it, because this isn't, it's a little bit out of his comfort zone. But he's already been out of his comfort zone for so long. This is just another step. Somehow, we got a response back saying, yeah, I've known Eugene forever. Why didn't he just ask me for a job? But that's not something we expected. We had been to so many interviews where we expected more. In the one place where we might have expected less, we got more. And that's about taking that chance right there. If it was up to me, I would have left it right there at Seahawks. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea how to get into that place. But it is all about having a bigger vision than yourself. This is not something I did for Eugene. This is something Eugene and I did together. All right? We did this with each other. There's no way I could have gotten in there without his contacts. And he would have formed a strategy on his own that would have felt comfortable to him. And I think that's really, really important to remember is what we do with the people we work for, with the people we work with. All right, when anywhere we go and they ask me what my job is, I like to keep it simple. I work for him. That's it.
Woo! That's
super
true.
simple. I work for him.
Yep.
Whatever he wants, that's what we're gonna do. If he has a vision, we're gonna make it happen. You know, I don't come up with anything on my own. If you knew me, that wouldn't surprise you. I come up with very, very little on my own. I need some direction. And that's what he's been giving me this whole time, is direction on how to help him. You know, that's a lot of times from Northwest Center, that's how we approach a lot of our problems, a lot of our issues, when we want to accomplish something. That's how a lot of us come in, and we ask that, what can I do for you? You tell me how I can help you. If you don't tell me how I can help you, I got to come up with something on my own. But that hasn't really been a problem. Most people know this is how I need to be helped. Tell us that, and we'll work with it. And that's what we do. We offer resources. We're not here to change your lives. We're just here to help you make your own life better. You know, we just want you to have the same thing I have, which is the freedom to work, freedom to travel, freedom to just talk to someone without any preformed ideas in their mind. I have that ability. I can go anywhere I want, and people aren't going to have a preformed opinion of me. That's not the same. That's not the same for him. And that's how we kind of go through this. And he tells me what he wants and how I can help him accomplish what I already have. That's what we do here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to.
Is that what you're getting to?
That's what we're getting to. I'm about to do that. Let me go ahead and grab that microphone real quick. Now, if I were to ask you guys for money, that would be called pandering. Which is why I brought Eugene. He doesn't work for us. He can say anything he wants.
Do you really want me to?
Get that money, boy.
Well, thank you for coming, everybody. Yeah, because let me tell a bit about my story. When I was 18, I was told by the state that I would never be able to work because if I did work, I'd lose all my benefits. I didn't find out till I was 41 that was different. And there was one person in this room that helped me get in touch with Northwest Center. And that was Mike Flood. I've known Mike since 1996. And he's helped me in every which way to get in touch with Northwest Center, helped me get involved with the right people. He helped me get in touch with Abel and the other right people to help me because I didn't know where to go. It upset me at 18 when I couldn't go to work after high school because they told me if I worked, there goes my benefits, there goes my medical, and I was like, what do I do? So my grandparents who raised me told me I had to wait. So I had to wait. Well, look where I'm at now. I did everything that Abel asked me to do. I've done everything that Northwest Center has asked me to do. But at the end, I will say this. I got the job I've always wanted. I got the greatest boss in the world, and she's here. Mike's here. And what else can I say? And like I said, Northwest Center did help me in every which way possible. Because without them, I would not be able to do what I'm doing now. I look at it every day as I get up. And when I get my schedule for work, I'm happy. because Northwest Center helped me to get where I'm at and doing what needs to be done for me. And there's a lot of people out there that are in my condition that don't understand that they can go out and get these things if they get the right people to help.
Yeah. Right on. Woo!
The next time you guys come down and go watch a football game, make sure you get your merchandise from him. If you're a football fan, prepared to have a conversation, a very, very long conversation about the Seahawks and the history, and he can tell you anything. This is your merch guy. Thank you so much, Eugene. We're going to go ahead and get him off stage. In the meantime, we're going to bring up Mike Flood.
I don't want him. He's got to stay up there with me.
Oh, he's staying.
He's going to stay up here. In the meantime, we're going to bring up Mike Flood, representing the current NFL champions.
Woo! Yeah.
There's very few of these around, but this one's going to Eugene.
Oh, that's awesome.
Eugene had a special edge when he applied for that job. In high school at Liberty, he coached the field goal kickers, and one of them was Drew Dunning, who had a pretty darn good career at WSU, right? Go Cougs.
Yeah.
But,
Woo!
But I met Eugene through Walter and Lois. I don't remember if it was you or them that I met the first time around.
We met all of us at the dinner for the new stadium when we started.
Yeah, the new stadium, which wouldn't be here without Lee Keller, who's sitting right over here, was the PR director for Referendum 48 campaign, Seahawks, to keep the team from moving to LA.
Yeah. Woo!
I worked on that I just gotten out of the Coast Guard, retired from the Coast Guard, and worked with Lee, for Lee, during that, for Paul Allen, during that campaign. I knew him from WSU days. But anyhow, Eugene and Walter and Lois and I used to go to get hamburgers at Triple X there in Issaquah and do all kinds of stuff together. So we've known each other for a long time. Lois passed away, gosh, like 10 years ago now. 2014. And Walter passed away a couple years ago. So luckily, Jeannie is taking care of Eugene now and is pretty tight with Eugene. So we thank you for what you're doing too.
Yeah.
Thanks. And Gene's boss down at the team store, and by the way, Gene is one dedicated employee, man. If any, like his chair isn't working today, and he was so pissed off about that last night, he called me up and said, I can't work next week if I don't get this thing fixed. So he tried it this morning and it ain't working very good. So he and Jeannie are gonna go to the place and try and get that thing fixed tomorrow, because he's got work coming up this weekend. But he is, and when you talked about inclusion and Molly, you talked about purpose, and just getting to know people, and that's the more you work with people. We do a lot with Special Olympics too. You get to understand all the different angles that people have in their lives, and we all have some of those things too. So it's good for all of us to be associated and learn about people and expand our knowledge of how people operate. So the dedication thing that you talked about, Abel, he is one dedicated employee, and he motivates me to not be lazy, make sure I show up everywhere early and on time too, because it ain't easy for him. I know it's tough for him. He went to bed late last night and got up early this morning to make this happen today. And that's true for a lot of people that work for us at the stadium or at our headquarters. They've got needs that are different than everybody else, but we try and make sure that there's a way for them to contribute, because it lends to the whole culture of the Seattle Seahawks. If we have people from all different backgrounds, all different abilities, different cultures, different languages, all that stuff, it's good for the whole team, and it helps us relate to the community. And as I was walking down the parade route after we won the Super Bowl and saw everybody that can be described in all these different personalities and cultures and everything else, age, everything, it was just a beautiful thing to see everybody join together that day, and 1 million people and no violence, just a celebration. That's what we're all after, and I think that's kind of in the same spirit as what Northwest Center does. And I'm proud to have been associated with them for many years now. So,
Woo! Yeah.
Thanks. I want to make sure that I salute Jessica again, because she works with Eugene, and there's a lot of times when things are happening with the chair or other things that with health, and she makes sure that he and other employees have a welcoming place to work.
Woo!
So thank you.
Yeah. Woo.
It's just a beautiful thing. That's all I can say, and we're proud to work with him and with others. And I love the fact that you all represent the same attitude about making sure that we include people so that we embrace a wide variety of personality types and abilities and disabilities. There's, at the stadium, there's a room called Ben's Room. It's for John and Tracy Schneider's, named after their son, Ben, who's autistic. And we know that a lot of people can't stand the noise or certain other things during the game. They need to get away. Even some veterans who have gone through some pretty tough battles will go in there and camp out for a few minutes just to make sure that their senses are lowered a little bit, and they can get back out there and scream again if they want to. But anyhow, at the stadium, when we built it, we had we had people from every community that we could think of, and we've done this over the years since then to refine, but tell us how the stadium could be built and sized out and seated so that everybody who, whether it's a sight disability like Clark Roberts, who does stuff with One Court, some of you may know about that. Some students at UW had developed this thing called One Court, and we were early testing that out. It gives you a tactile device, because Clark would come to the games and just listen. He loved Steve Rabel. In fact, we did a special on him one time, brought him to a game, and brought him down on the field a couple days later just so he could feel the field to be down there. And we didn't tell him that Steve Rabel was going to be there. And so he hears this voice coming up behind him, and he recognized it was Rabel. But that's how he understood the Seahawks. But now there's a tactile device that gives you a little bit of an early flavor about how that play is developing, so you don't have to just wait for the radio, because sometimes the radio can be delayed based on what you're hearing the fans screaming about. So there's all kinds of ways that we can improve what we do in the stadium, and we're always looking at those things to make sure that that we've got more of our boards around the stadium will tell you what's going on, so you can see from every angle what happened on a play or what the stats are. But all those things, Kevin McGuire, remember Kevin McGuire came to talk to us. He had suffered some accidents when he was a kid, but he knew a lot about what the disability community needs in the stadium. So we built that stadium and refined it since then to make sure that we try and attack the problem of how people perceive the game, so that many different people can, hope I'm not getting too much feedback in this thing,
You're good.
but many different people can experience that game the same way everybody else does if they don't have any of those difficulties. So it's always our honor and our pleasure, and for Eugene, he's just a buddy of mine, so we've known each other for a long time. I went to Walter's memorial service that he organized here a year ago, and we're just good friends. So I thank you for all you do for Northwest Center. I hope you support them big time, because they're a wonderful cause. So thanks very much.
Woo! Woo!
All right, well, you've heard Eugene's story today, but there's so many more individuals out there who are still waiting for this same opportunity that we're talking about today. People who want to work, people who want to contribute, and they want to build their own independence, but they just need to find the right support to get there. And that's where Northwest Center and all of you, that's where everyone comes in. And right now I'd like to invite Peter Rotha, our Chief Development Officer, to the stage.
Ooh, steady, guys.
Thank you very much, Mike.